What if there were a dating site where you knew that the men going on the site were actually there for a real committed relationship and mostly for marriage? I bet you would be very skeptical and you might be curious too how it works. In this episode of Make Him Wonder, I interview the founder of marryingamerica.com, Jeremy Nelson. I find out how marryingamerica.com differs from all other swiping sites, how it works, and how you can know if it could be part of your online dating. This episode was actually filmed in full. It's my pleasure to bring this to you, and it was a pleasure talking to Jeremy and discovering why he created the site, how it's designed. So without further delay, I want you to know if Marrying America is for you. So let's get right to this episode with Jeremy Nelson. There, and welcome to Make Him Wonder. I'm your host, Coach Paula, a dating and relationship coach for women, licensed social worker, and author of the book, Why Won't He Commit? How a Man Decides to Make You the One. I hope you find a Mr. Right, get an ex back, or grow an existing relationship with a man you truly desire so you create the relationship of your dreams and then level up to the complete commitment you totally deserve. My guest today is Mr. Jeremy Nelson, the founder of marryingamerica.com, a new kind of dating site that he calls a courting platform. His mission is to redefine modern dating by helping people connect with intention and clarity, even online. Married himself for over 40 years, Jeremy created Marrying America for singles who are serious about getting married and want a meaningful alternative to the usual suspects like Tinder, Hinge, Match, and Bumble. Not an easy feat in today's swipe-heavy world, which is why I'm thrilled to have him here on Make Him Wonder and in video form for you all to enjoy and to see. Mr. Nelson will explore his vision, what inspired him to take on such a bold undertaking, and get into the particulars of this unique platform to see if it might even be a right fit for you. Welcome, Jeremy.
Hi, Paula. Thanks for having me. It's my pleasure to be here. Thanks again.
Well, pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
I'm so thrilled to be talking to you because this is, I dare say, the first time I've ever had someone from an online platform talking to me about this new vision that you have, because this is a different kind of online platform. And I am so fascinated by what got you into this. So I want to hear all about that first and foremost. How did you decide to do this? What's your background? And give us some real info on you so we know who you are and what led you here.
All right. The backstory is I am a certified public accountant by profession. So I'm a numbers guy, not a relationship guy. What got me here was I noticed that I was running into a lot of people who were having a hard time or lack of success with the traditional dating apps as we know them today. Me being me, I said, whoa, there has got to be a better way. And of course, I'm a guy that had been married for decades at that point. And so it was not in a pursuit of looking for a result for myself, but I recognized that there are a lot of pain points in the marketplace. And the apps as they are currently designed seem to me to be pushing people or forcing you or encouraging you to engage with matches that one wasn't sure, are they matching with me because they really like my profile or because I liked their profile? Are they sending matches to 15 people, 18 people? Am I one of 25 matches that they sent out this weekend? And another problem I noticed was a lot of people were complaining that they would be getting match request or request, but they would never see it because their inbox was overwhelmed with so many incoming requests or messages. It was very hard to keep up with it. So I also noticed that they were overwhelmed with the number of match requests or incoming messages into their inbox. And I had heard a few people mention that, they missed out on what could have been good opportunities because there were just too much incoming messages and mail to evaluate and seriously take a look at who it was coming from. So I said, hey, there's got to be a more efficient way to get done. This would have been in 2022 when I seriously started to take a hard look at it. So this would have been three years ago at this point. And just as background, Paula, and this actually started as originally being marrying Black America, because I really saw where our community, Black American community, the rate of marriage in the community is significantly lower than I personally would want it to be. So I originally started this as marrying Black America, but the original intent and the nuts and bolts of it has not changed. It's just now that it's all encompassing and no longer focused on a specific demographic. But that was the origin of it. And, I thought I could bring some unique ideas to the space, which would lead to more intention on those who were actually on the website. And it's strictly a website. It's not an app, because I didn't want to encourage people to download an app and spend, 4 or 5 hours on a weekend scrolling through profiles and doing whatever else people do on dating apps. I wanted it to be very strategic, very purposeful, very mindful, with a lot of intent. So it's designed as strictly a website, and everything that is built into the process is designed for people who are seriously looking for a long-term relationship. Hence the name Marrying America.
So tell us, what is different about Marrying America as opposed to your swiping right apps or your Match.coms or what have you?
Okay, there's several things that are different. Number one, you can only send out 5 match requests every 30 days. And there's a very specific intent behind that. If you send a request to an individual, they will know that at maximum they are one of 5. So they know that you're very intentional about sending them that request, because you only get 5 every 30 days. They don't have to wonder, did he send me this as one of 15 that he sent on a Wednesday afternoon or a Friday afternoon? You'll know that, okay, I am one of no more than 5 that he can send. So that's the first differentiator, if you will.
And is it only that men send to women, or does it go both ways?
It absolutely goes both ways. Okay. Anybody can express interest in somebody else. But you only get to send 5 requests every 30 days, but you can receive unlimited requests from people.
I don't know that I understand. When you say you can send to unlimited amounts, but there's only 5?
No, what I meant by that is I can send 5 match requests. So if I send you a match request, Paula, you will know that you are one of 5 for that 30-day period. But you could have 50 guys sending you a request in that same 30-day period. So you're not limited in the number of likes or match requests that you can receive. You're only limited in terms of the number that you can send.
And from what I understand from seeing your site, that I would need to accept it, and then I also pay a credit by accepting it.
And that's a second differentiator, is it's going to cost you a credit to accept a match request. Once you send a match request, a credit is reserved, but it doesn't actually get spent until that match request is accepted. Okay.
I see.
And if you accept my match request, it's going to cost you a credit. Okay. So the intent behind it, if I send a match request, the person who it's being sent to, they understand that there's a monetary cost to me to send that request. And I understand on my end that if you accept my match request, there's a monetary cost to you to having done so. So people are invested financially in accepting and sending match requests, and therefore the intentionality of it, the seriousness behind it is, in my opinion, significantly increased, because it's not one of these sites where you pay $49 a month and you can send 500 requests. No, every request that's accepted is going to cost you money. Every request that you send, you're going to have to reserve a credit to do so. So if you want to send 5 requests in those 30 days, you're going to have 5 credits to do so. But the caveat is, if the match request is not accepted, you get that credit back. Because if I send a match request, exactly, the person that's receiving a request, they only have 7 days on which to act on that request. So on day 8, if they have not accepted the request, it's rescinded, and
I
that's meant
see.
to. So again, you can see where that's meant to drive engagement and to make sure people don't. Oh, I'll get to this next week. Or geez, I'm busy right now. I'll deal with this in a couple of weeks. No, a match request comes in. You have 7 days to decide I want to accept or no, thank you, because then it's rescinded and I get my credit back, or that reserved credit I get back as a sender.
So what have you found in terms of your users, the feedback? I assume a lot of research went into this to see before you even maybe made it live, how many men would be interested, because immediately for my viewers, it will be, well, not so sure that men are going to be this intentional when they have the alternative, which is to go on a regular site and look at a lot of pretty women and just swipe right on them and get their attention, etc.
And that is a legitimate, bona fide question that only the real world results will answer. But you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think the data supports the fact that only the top 20% of the guys on the dating apps end up with 80% of the matches. Now, my numbers may be not entirely accurate, but I think the data suggests that only the top 20, 25% of the guys on these apps get, 80% of the match requests.
It's actually much worse.
Oh, okay.
Only 10% of men on traditional apps, they get 90% of the attention.
Okay.
The bottom 90% of men pretty much don't get any action, dates, anything
Sure.
at all.
Absolutely. And these are the guys that Marrying America is designed for. Guys who are looking for a serious relationship who aren't getting requests. That is the cohort of guys that this is designed to attract. Guys who don't get any action on these other apps, not getting a lot of action in real life, but nevertheless, they desire a committed relationship. So my hope is that if I can bring these gentlemen to Marrying America and they send a request, once that lady receives that request, she's going to realize that this guy is serious. He's intentional. He may not be her type, but I'm expecting that there will be enough there so that she responds and she goes, hey, he might not be 6'4", he might not be, 245, he may not be a linebacker, he may not be X, Y, and Z, but hey, this guy obviously sees something in me because he's willing to invest in matching with me. He is not necessarily my typical guy, but hey, let me give him a shot. Let's see where this goes. So, my hope is that it will better show people where they really fall in the sexual marketplace in terms of their appeal to other people.
So I like that a lot because these are the men that we want to be dating when we're very serious about meeting someone for marriage and children.
Right, exactly. And of course, these are not going to be the alpha guys that women naturally gravitate towards. They're not. They're going to be, as they say in popular culture, they're going to be your beta type of guys, your simp kind of guys. But these are the guys that will truly engage for the long haul. These are the kind of guys who will stay married forever. These are the kind of guys who aren't going to be in the bar on a Friday night with their boys, kicking it and shooting pool. So even though they're not the alpha types, they are in fact the marrying type, or the types you want your daughters to marry. Because they're going to be home with you, they're going to be cooking dinner with you, they're going to be changing diapers with you. That's what they do. But of course, you first have to get them to that place in life, and they don't have any real opportunities right now to find that forever person, and I'm trying to give them a platform.
I like this a lot because if the word can get out to these men,
Right.
there is a place where they can have agency in dating again, like they used to prior to online dating, prior to social media, when women did look at men in the type of way you are looking at it.
Right.
I hope that you can get this word out to men to make them feel like there is a place for them. Of course, all manner of ghosts and goblins come up, that the women on there will not be the same choice, quote unquote, women as maybe on Tinder or more of the apps? Do you get any of that kind of pushback on it?
I mean, these are the guys I'm trying to appeal to, are guys who are very aware of their appeal in terms of their mass appeal to women on a physical level. They already know that they don't have that alpha trait that these women, so gravitate towards. They already know that. So, their question is, okay, where do I go to find, a partner? Where do I go to find a girlfriend? Where do I go to find a serious relationship? Because these are guys that I believe, they already know that they're not players. They're not built for that lifestyle. They're not F-boys as a popular terminology would refer to them. They just want a nice girl they can take home to mom, introduce to the family, get married, settle down, and live middle-class American life. So I'm hoping to appeal to a specific type of guy, which is, the guy who just wants one woman in his life. He doesn't want to be dating, 5 girls and have a roster. He has no interest in a roster. He just wants one woman that he can call, that he can engage with, that he can, bond with, and hopefully, lead to a long-term sustained relationship. Those are the guys I'm looking for.
That's the question that my viewers will have. Mm-hmm. What is the ratio, if you have that data, of men to women on your site? And what is your initial data showing? For example, I understand that you started in September of 2024. So that means your site, marryingamerica.com, is just about a year old. Right. What data have you gleaned in that amount of time?
Okay. Right now, we are trying to roll this out city by city. So we're looking at Tulsa right now and Seattle, trying to figure out how best to target this specific demographic. Because as you can imagine, mass media marketing is pricey. It's expensive. It's cost prohibitive. So what we're trying to flesh out right now is what's the most effective way to get to these guys? Because our operating premise is if we can get to these guys, the girls will follow. That's the premise that we're operating on. It still has to be proven in the real world, but every time I look at a TikTok or Instagram story or whatever it may be, it's always where are the good guys? Where are the guys that want a committed relationship? I'm hoping that the answer to that question for the next year or so is going to be, they're all on Marrying America. That's what I'm hoping the answer to that question is. So
you say
we're going to find out. Yeah, Tulsa and Seattle, Washington. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, because we want to see small market versus bigger market, middle America versus, West Coast. Are there any significant nuances between one and the other? Our middle America guy is going to be more accepting, more willing to embrace, or our West Coast guys in a city like Seattle going to be more willing to embrace. So we're trying to figure it out as we go, as to where the sweet spot really is. And that's kind of the mode that we're in right now is where is a sweet spot and how do we tap into it? Can I ask you a question? You have been doing this for a long time. You're running into probably thousands of individuals at this point. What do you think, your past guests, your past interactions would think of the concept? The women that you've had on your podcast who have expressed these concerns, what do you think their feedback would be?
I think that they would have concerns about numbers. And
fair enough.
I would like for women to take that out of the equation, because how I look at it is for a woman who is looking to marry and have children, perhaps, you're only looking for one.
Right.
So I don't go by what the masses tend to say, which is it's a numbers game.
Right.
I don't believe that. I think that it's more about qualities, values, compatibility.
Right.
What your goal is. And so what I'm hearing you say is, and it's in the name, marryingamerica.com,
right.
that the goal is for people to come to this site who are not looking to just date. I say, if you don't know, one of my sayings for women is to understand that men self-soothe and amuse themselves with women when they are not intentional. Right. So when they are on a regular site and swiping, that's an amusing thing for men. Men love looking at women, and it can be an act in and of itself rather than, I'm here to be intentional about something, which is really dating. Because statistically, we know that men date usually for only one reason, and
Right.
that reason is for the potential of short-term sexual experiences. The
Okay.
men who are going to come on your site, they pretty much know that's not what the women are going to be there for. So right off the bat, it sets people up for more wanting the same thing, which I think has been in the online dating space absolutely missing.
Sure.
You're filling a gap here that is seriously huge. It's been like just a prevailing thought that,
Right.
okay, if everybody's going on a dating site, they typically have intentions of certainly meeting up, okay,
Hmm.
but can be completely divergent goals. And so your site is saying this is for people who have the goal in common, and that
Right.
is real commitment and marriage. So it's going
Exactly.
to be very, very interesting to see your data and to see in particular places like you're saying you're doing 2 right now.
But the marketing dollars are being focused on those 2 cities. But we are everywhere. We're available everywhere, and we encourage people everywhere to get on board. But our marketing dollars are channeled right now into those 2 cities.
I see. The question that comes up for me is you can go on, you can join, I assume, and look at potential photos and profiles and so
Sure.
forth. And I understand
Absolutely.
you have video as well as
Yes.
photos.
Yes. If they choose to upload video, yes.
Okay. And then if you do not get a match you're interested in or want to start a match by spending a credit, there's no cost.
Exactly. So so you could buy 3 credits for $30 and or something like that, and essentially, you may have them for 6 months because you may not run into anybody that you want to match with. I mean, you may send matches that nobody accepts. So there's no monthly ongoing expense. The only expense is, do I want to match with this young man? If the answer is yes, and you spend that credit, then everybody's vested in taking it to that next level. And yes, I like to think that there are a lot of guys out here who would like to get some online attention. And I believe that, once these ladies come on the site and they're looking at guys, if they're looking at these guys and they're realizing that these guys actually want to be in relationships, they actually want to have lifelong bonds, in other words, get married, guys who they would otherwise have disqualified on the Tinders of the world and the Bumbles of the world, they may give a second chance. If they look at a guy and he's, I don't know, 2 inches shorter than they would like, she may go, hey, this guy says he wants a serious relationship. He says he wants, something that might lead to marriage. He's not as tall as I would like, but guess what? If that's what he wants, let me send him a match request, see where this goes. So I like to think, and I guess only time will prove this right or wrong, that women will be interested in guys who are interested in them. And the same thing for guys. I mean, they'll be interested in women who are interested in them. Because, Paula, I mean, if you get a match on Bumble, you really have no idea, is this guy really matching with me because he really likes me, or is he matching with me because he thinks he can, get to home base, this weekend? You really have no idea. And this whole Marrying America is meant to move that paradigm a little bit, shift that conversation to, hey, look, it's clearly defined that we're here for the same thing. So on that first date, you have to ask the question, what are you looking for? You already know what you're looking for. We met on Marrying America, for crying out loud. I mean, so we know what we're looking for. We're here intentionally looking for a long-term relationship. So those awkward conversations are already off of the table. The only questions to be answered is, I mean, is it going to be with you? Are we compatible enough? But again, until it gets tested in the real world and proven in the real world, which I expect will happen here soon. Yeah, we're trying to make it as easy, remove as many pain points as we possibly can to having these uncomfortable conversations. What are you looking for? Do you want a long-term relationship? That's already baked into the cake. That's already implied. That's already understood. That's why I'm here. Can we make it work?
So one of the biggest issues women have,
right,
with online and with men organically, is that the art of dating for men is almost non-existent. And that's evolved over the last, I'd say 20 years, along with online dating.
Sure.
My online dating course helps women to bridge that gap for men because I say to women, you are not looking for a great dater. You are looking for a man who is capable of being in a relationship because they are two extremely different skill sets for men.
For
As
sure.
I often say, all players are typically great daters. They know what to do and say to get women to do what they would like to be done. So they're really great at dating. Now, I'm not saying that all men that are great at dating are all players, but most all players are great daters. So I often
Absolutely.
say, beware of the great dater. You are looking for a man who has the desire to commit and be in a committed relationship and then have a modicum of skills to be able to sustain that. But it starts with men wanting to commit and wanting
Right.
marriage. And
Right.
I have seen, unfortunately, a whole movement,
Mm-hmm.
even fostered by many quote unquote male experts in the space, that marriage is dying. Why would a man ever get married and have the possibility of divorcing and then he is impacted financially? And it's really gone in a way that I think is very negative, not only for men,
You're right.
for women, and definitely for society. What say you to that?
You are absolutely right. The skill set of courting is much like spelling. Is dying. I mean, kids nowadays. I mean, they don't spell like they used to because they don't have to. The art of looking at a map and figuring out where am I or where do I need to go. I mean, that skill set is dead because we all have GPSs to take us from point A to point B. So to ever think that we're going to get back to the day of guys who are very skilled in that particular art form, that's an unreasonable expectation. And I think women too, their dating styles have also changed over this last generation. So it's not just the guys. I think both sexes, male and female, how they engage from a dating perspective has significantly morphed and turned into something that I for sure don't recognize. I think a lot of girls nowadays, I mean, if you're not taking them to a five-star restaurant on a first date, it's like, okay, wait a minute, something is wrong here. I don't know how we got to, five-star being an appropriate first date, but that's just the environment that we're in. They're going to have to recognize that a lot of these guys that they're going to interact with, they're not going to be great conversationalists because those skills, they just were never developed. So they're going to have to go into it with more realistic expectations that we're gonna have to really work hard at having decent conversation because it's not a skill set that we possess. I mean, it's no different than the obesity crisis, I guess, that we're facing in this country. A generation ago, I mean, Americans were a lot lighter than they are today. But that's just a fact of where we are.
I think what you're alluding to is that abundance doesn't make choice easier. And
Exactly.
that's a big issue. And
Makes it harder.
why the dating sites, yes, can be so difficult. And
Exactly.
just what you were alluding to with the first date being a five-star restaurant, it's why in my dating course, One Love, which is online to never ending love, 7 simple steps to digital dating success for women, is that the first meeting not be dinner.
Right.
It's not a great
First
first
date.
meeting.
Mm-hmm.
After you and a man have met and that man decides he wants to take you to dinner, then that can happen. But until you've met, going from right from online to dinner, sitting
Yeah.
across from each other, is
Right.
not a great idea. It puts too much pressure on both. There's not an ease to it. It is too long and it
Yeah.
can feel more like an interview. And so we
Sure.
don't want that. So those who follow me know that I don't ever recommend that. It's not a great first meeting. But
Right.
once you met and the man asks you to dinner, great, whatever it is, the next step, he takes that reign and he courts. And I like that you are using the term courting. It has become a lost art, unfortunately, with, for example, sites like Bumble. They realized that their model initially of having the women do all the reaching out was not leading to much long-term success. And so they changed that model to allow for men to reach out as well, because the women reaching out to men, it's upside down.
Right.
It doesn't work well. And for long-term success, it doesn't work well. That feels awful to the modern woman, because the
Right.
modern woman wants to feel like, well, I have a choice. I get to pick two. And if it worked, I'd say great. But online, while it can work, it's in very, very, very rare cases. And so I don't recommend it. And in this case, what you're saying with Marrying America is that a woman can go on the site, and wherever she is in the United States, check it out. She doesn't have to pay. She can join.
Right.
And then if she's there, men who want to meet her, she can know that they really find something special about her because they have used a credit. And I
Right.
like the idea that your credits per month are not unlimited. That's wonderful.
Right. I mean, she can get on, she can join, and she can sit back and see who wants to send her a match request. Then she can buy credits. I mean, there's no requirement that you have to buy credits in order to get matches. You have to have credit in order to accept the match, but to actually receive it, you don't need to have any credit. So you can sit back and see, if 10 guys send you a request, and if you like four of them, then you buy sufficient credit to match with four of them. There's no I need to maximize my investment because I paid $49 or whatever it is, $199 for a 3-month membership. You don't have that pressure to have your investment pay off because there is no investment. The only
Right.
investment comes if you decide to match back with that person. And that is what I believe then ups the ante, if you will. It adds a level of seriousness, of intentionality to the match process that I don't think exists anywhere else at this point in time. And I think for both parties, it gets the engagement and it gets the talking stage off on the right foot. That this person has spent money, both the man and the woman. We are both invested in each other. So, okay, something they may text that might offend you, you overlook it because you're going, hey, look, they probably didn't mean it the way it came across because they invested money to match with me. So they clearly see something in me that they want to explore further. So, I mean, I think it buys you some grace. It buys you some understanding. It buys you a willingness to overlook every little slight and every little ick or whatever they call it nowadays that one might have had. That, oh, that's an ick. Well, when you know somebody has invested money in meeting you, okay, I'll overlook that ick. If you understand what the point I'm trying to make here. So I think it decouples a lot of our impulses and habits that we've gotten into and gives people a space to really and truly see who genuinely wants to invest in them. And, I think that goes a long way because when you're going to the table knowing that this person was willing to invest in me, it helps a lot, I think, just in terms of getting the relationship off on the right foot, as opposed to a different app where, okay, I'm investing in you by taking you to dinner. But of course, everybody knows that I'm expecting that investment to pay off tonight because we're going to go back to my place. We're going to have a bottle of wine and my investment is going to pay off. I mean, we're trying to take that out of the mix. It's all about giving my lonely guys or my guys who don't get a lot of female attention a platform where they can find that girl that's looking for that good guy.
Right.
Because
Well, I really love it. Do you have children?
Yeah, I have two grown daughters. I have two adult daughters. Yes.
And are they using the site?
Well, I mean, funny enough, I mean, the youngest one, she actually, met her husband on a dating platform. Yes.
Wonderful.
Which is the only way she's the only way you meet people nowadays. I mean, unfortunately, the days of going to, the country fair or the local fair, those are bygone days. Not to say it doesn't happen, but, it's like, it's rare to meet that person in the wild. Because a lot of these guys that would otherwise make good husbands, you're not going to find them at the country fair because it's going to take a woman in your lives to go, hey, look, hon, we should go to the fair this weekend. They're not going to do it. They're going to be inside gaming. They're going to be inside doing, whatever guys do. I mean, in order for them to get out of the house, somebody's going to have to pull them up. Say, babe, we're going to go canoeing this weekend. Babe, we're going to go do this week. But in my opinion, I don't know where else are we going to, there is nothing else in this particular day and age that's going to give us the opportunities to meet people, especially on a mass scale. I mean, you don't want to go to a bar because the guys you're going to meet in a bar, not to disparage or but they're probably not going to be marriage material. You'd have to vet them a little bit more carefully. I mean, at least let me speak for myself. I mean, if I met a woman in a bar, I mean, I'd have to vet her a lot more carefully than if I met her at church. You know what I mean? There's a lot more due diligence that would go into my personal vetting process. But I mean, that's just me. So, or if or a young lady that I was introduced to by a family friend or something, So in this day and age, online really is the only way to get it done on a effective scale. So the question becomes, how do we make it easier? How do we make it better for the guys who those confident alpha guys? I mean, which is most of us, right? So that's what we're trying to get done here. That most guys, I mean, they don't want to be chasing a lot of women. They just want one good woman they can come home to. But where do we find that? Because these girls who are looking for that, I mean, they too are not at the bars. Yeah, it's very difficult now. I'm trusting that this site, which is geared to a very specific demographic, which is people looking for a committed relationship, and they're willing to profess that upfront. Hopefully they take concrete, tangible steps towards manifesting that. I guess another big thing for me, Paula, is I want people to appreciate that their ideal person, or who they think is their ideal person, maybe broaden your horizons a little bit and like who likes you. Learn to love those who want to love you. I think that goes a long way, because I think a lot of us can grow on each other if we get to know each other. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so a lot of people go into these relationships with preconceived, oh, geez, I want him to be this, I want it to be that, I want her to, look like this, I want her to look like that. But once you start engaging and you start interacting, you start going, hey, this person isn't so bad after all. I kind of like this girl. Oh, I mean, hey, I kind of like that guy. You know what I mean? He's not what I thought I would go for, but here we are. So I'm trying to give people an avenue to meet people and be willing to engage with people that they otherwise, would not engage with. And like I said, from my perspective, if you know somebody's willing to invest in you by sending you that match request, it incentivizes you to pay a lot more attention to that request than you otherwise would, is what I think. I've never been on a dating app because, I mean, obviously I've been, I've had to be. But, if I'm getting a request from some random girl who's just going through her Tinder pages or whatever the case may be, versus somebody who I know had to invest money to send me a match request, I think I'm going to look at the person who is investing, a lot more carefully. She may not be as cute. She may not be as, as whatever, but, just knowing that she is willing to make an investment, 9 times out of 10, I'm thinking I'm going with the person who wants to make that investment, because it clearly shows intent. From a psychological perspective, I think that matters. And will allow people to broaden their horizons and maybe engage with people that that they otherwise might not engage with. So that's my hope. Is that Marrying America will even the playing field, if you will, engaging with a purpose, and I am hoping that it brings some sanity to what I see as an insane process right now. I'm just thankful that I'm not out there trying to get it done. It's
Here.
Yeah, I'd love to have people embrace it, give me feedback on it, because I always love feedback. Tell me what it is that I got wrong. Tell me what it is that I got right. Tell me what it is that isn't working, can't work, won't work. I love feedback, but from my perspective, it can be a difference maker for the right demographic of people. It gets them in the game. And that's what I'm looking to do, is that demographic that's looking for a stable relationship. I'm hoping this puts them in the game. And of course, the offerings that you have, Paul, I mean, when these guys or these ladies get into relationships, how do you sustain that? Because I know you do a lot of content on making it work. What is it that the guy really wants? What is it that the girl really wants? I mean, your content would, once they get together, would be perfect for them, because, as we know, sustaining a relationship is a way harder than getting into it. I mean, sustaining it is a lot of work. So I'm hoping that, like I said, I get them in, and then, content such as yours can help them to sustain it, grow it, and have it amount to something, because, Lord knows we need it.
We definitely need it. And that's why I wanted to have you on today, because I think it is something that provides an alternative to your typical site, whereby you, as the woman, do not know the man's intention.
Right.
Now, that said, a man can come on your site and he can be one of the rare few that would want to hoodwink a woman by
Sure.
showing himself as being someone ready to commit and spending the credits in order to meet her and pursue her and pull the wool over her eyes. I
Sure.
think that that would be very, very few and far between. Women always have to be self-protective and think
Sure.
along those lines. And maybe you can tell us, is there any vetting of men to ensure anything about them? For example, there are a lot of nefarious men on regular sites,
Sure.
and they present as, the greatest men since sliced bread, and yet they have criminal records, they're married, all manner of different things. Is there
Right.
anything that you can do? And I don't even know if regular sites can vet people. Are we moving towards that? I would like to see that happen. But again, there's privacy rules involved and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So is there anything along those lines?
No, there isn't. But I think I'd want to stress that with our site, the mere fact that you can only send out a maximum of 5 match requests per month. If you are inclined to be that type of guy, you're going to find way easier places to run your numbers up. Because on our site, you only get to send 5, and you have no guarantee that any of the 5 are going to respond to you. So that it inherently is a built-in blocker, if you will, for guys who are looking to run up numbers or to engage in nefarious activities, because it just can't scale on Marrying America. There just isn't enough bandwidth. With 5 requests per month, there just isn't enough bandwidth to make it worth your while. Not to say that you won't run into those who will try, but we always advise people that no matter who you're engaging with, it always behooves you to do your own due diligence. It just is good fundamental best practices. Just do your due diligence, find out first name, last name, who is this person? They just always know, you want to do a FaceTime call with them before you ever lay eyes on them physically. You just want to do good due diligence. There's any number of resources that will tell you how to do good due diligence before you go meeting up with anybody. I would suggest to everybody that you just practice best practices, and there are any number of resources, like I said, that will tell you how to do just that. To bring it back full circle and to answer your question, like I said, on Marrying America, there just is not enough opportunities to make it worthwhile for somebody who wants to engage in nefarious activity to really thrive at doing so.
I would agree. So I want to thank you for coming on today, because I think that for those who maybe have kept themselves from going on a Tinder or some other site, a Hinge, a Match, or whatever,
Sure.
perhaps they could think about just putting themselves on this site as a woman and allowing for matches to come their way, and then you are the receiver and you decide whether or not it is worth you actually investing a credit.
Right.
And this intentionality is, I think, a really wonderful step for those, who are really wanting marriage, knowing they want commitment and they do want to find a good man in their area.
Right.
I think this is a wonderful alternative. It's a new approach. I would love to have you back on in another year and see where you are with this and maybe some data. And I
Absolutely.
truly wish you all the best, because it's wonderful that someone has thought of it in the way that you have, really thought things through
Yeah,
with the understanding that too much abundance doesn't make us more able to make any kind of choices. And then by virtue of this site, the choice, at least is someone you know, is more likely to be interested in the commitment that you're interested in. So I love it.
exactly. I strongly believe that a lot of women are going to find that very beneficial. That yeah, you don't have to ask the guy, why are you here? I mean, what are you looking for?
Right.
No, of course, it's going to be up to the individual to confirm that that's exactly what they're looking for based on their actions or inactions. But you don't have to have that conversation because it's already been had. I am here
Mm-hmm.
looking for X. Do their actions validate that that's exactly what they're looking for? But at least you don't have to have that conversation. You know what I mean? So I think that helps advance the dating agenda and puts everybody in a different frame of mind. Even the guy, you don't have to wonder, geez, if I ask this girl to be my girlfriend, is she gonna be okay with it? Is she gonna be icked out by it? Is she gonna be like freaked out? Oh my gosh, I've known you for 4 days. You want me to be your girlfriend? I mean, you don't have those,
Right.
overthinking what need not be overthought.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so but it's going to be interesting to see what the marketplace thinks of
Mm-hmm.
of Mario America. I'm going to buckle in and strap on for the ride. It's going to be interesting.
Right?
Yeah,
Well, congratulations. And I couldn't be happier to talk to you about this and really give you a lot of kudos for what you're doing and to truly wish you all the best in it. I thank you for coming on today. I'm so
thank
thankful
you
that you could do it and we could talk and keep in touch. This
for
will
sure.
be on YouTube. And I would love for women to put comments below so that we can see what they have to say about it and
Oh yeah,
try it out. See what you think. Give us
yeah.
the feedback.
There's no downside to trying it. And while we're talking about it, I mean, I have a coupon code for your podcast viewers, and the coupon code is podcast. Which gets them 100 free credits, which of course that'll last them till your wedding day.
Right.
So again, the coupon code is podcast in case your viewers are interested in taking advantage of the special offer. But even if they don't, the website is free to join, and the first credit is free. Of course, after the first credit, you're going to pay, unless you use a coupon code and get your free credits, which is again podcast. But yes, so I would encourage all your viewers to, at a minimum, since there's no cost associated with it, and you get 100% access to all the features when you sign up. So there's nothing
Wonderful.
behind a paywall or a firewall. Just FYI for your viewers. So I mean, there's absolutely no downside to getting out there. Mr. Right
That's right.
might be right around the corner for you. I mean, we're in America,
I love
so
it. Yep.
your
That's right.
husband is waiting or your wife is waiting. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again, Jeremy. It was wonderful to meet you. You're a lovely man, and we want to support you. Being 40 years married, you're the kind of guy every woman is looking for. So
Share that with my wife. Tell my wife that. Yeah.
I get you. I get you. But it's true. The fact that you, being married for as long as you have, you are the perfect person to have created it and be behind it. So congratulations again, and thank you for coming on.
Thank you much. I really appreciate it. And I hope to see you again real soon and get some
Absolutely.
updated data for you. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate
Wonderful.
it.
I wish you all the best. Take care. We'll talk soon.
All right. Fair enough. Thanks.
I love talking to a man who is really invested in getting people together. Wonderful. His ideas are really well thought out. I am really sending out good thoughts, and I would love to get your comments about it. What do you think about it? Do you think something like this will work? Are you so jaded that you think this is never going to work? There aren't going to be any men who are going to go online and really want marriage. If you do think that, I want you to think again, because I think that men want connection more than ever before. And boy, do they need it like never before. As Jeremy talked about, men now, if not with a woman, they generally are alone at home, online gaming, and that sort of thing, porn, etc. Women have always given men purpose and guidance and a full life. Women bring forth life into the world from being with a man, and they give that man the life. Ask any married man, who is content in his marriage, and he will tell you that. It is why men say about their wives, she's my better half. If you are desiring real connection, don't leave any stone unturned. Why not try it out? Put yourself out there. You have nothing to lose and potentially everything to gain. Online does work. 1 out of every 3 marriages is from online now. And we want to foster marriage. People need each other as they always have. And probably every generation says, as never before. We need marriage as never before. But statistically, marriage is going down, and we are in a deficit in terms of replacing ourselves on the planet. Yes, we're still growing in numbers because, well, children are not being born at a replacement level across the globe, except in the sub-Sahara. Older folks are continuing to get older without passing away, and that is the only reason we are continuing to grow in terms of population numbers on the planet. But make no mistake, we are not having children at a replacement level. So if you want children as never before, we want you to have that and find a man who can do that with you, because that's going to be the easiest road for you and certainly the best road for your children to have a present father. And for women who say, well, I don't want to marry the wrong man and potentially divorce just to have a child. Well, I would ask you, how important is it for you to think of yourself as the 80-year-old woman looking back and you never got to have children? If you do get to have children and you do get divorced, at least you have your children. We never want to foster divorce. And look at Jeremy, 40 years. It is possible. It's to the degree that you want it. It's something that you can have. You need to work under my 3 pillars. You need to manifest it. You need to be in the right mindset for it, meaning your programming. Let's get you in line with less anxiety, feeling enough, feeling capable. And then that's, of course, through the mechanics of men. You can have what it is that you desire, deserve. You might have to do things just a tweak differently in order to. And maybe this is one of those little differences. Think outside the box. You have nothing to lose. And let's support Jeremy. I was happy to support him by coming on today. I hope you will too. And support me here on the podcast and on YouTube by putting a like on this video, subscribing, sharing it out far and wide. Let other women know, men too, in your life, that this site exists. And perhaps if we help just a few people find each other and get married, it is all worth it. That's how I feel about it. And as you know, with any man in your life, you want to start by making him wonder. Until next time.